You know when you look at a chart of, say, stock prices or weather patterns, and you just instinctively try to guess what's coming next? It's just a natural human impulse, right? We look for patterns. Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on the actual science of doing just that. We're going to explore how we find the hidden signals inside all the noise to, actually predict the future. So take a look at this. This chart, it's tracking the number of airline passengers month by month over a whole decade. It's a real-world puzzle. And right away, you can probably see two things happening. First, there's a clear upward climb over the years, right? But you also see this repeating, kind of jagged, rhythmic wave moving through it. So let me just ask you directly. If this chart stopped right here, how would you predict the very next dot on the graph? Would it go up? Would it go down? And by how much? Just hold that thought, because we're about to unpack the exact toolkit you'd need to answer that question. Okay, so that airline passenger data, it isn't just a random pile of numbers. It's a very specific kind of information. It has a special name, and trust me, once you learn to recognize it, you are going to start seeing it absolutely everywhere. It's called time series data, and the idea behind it is actually beautiful in its simplicity. It really only has two key ingredients. First, a sequence of numbers, like passenger counts or daily temperatures, and second, the fact that they're all recorded at regular time intervals. That steady tick-tock of the clock is what gives it all its predictive power. To really get what this means, let's contrast it with something different, like regression. So if you're trying to predict a house price based on its square footage and the number of bedrooms, does it matter which house you look at first? Nah, of course not. But with time series, the order is everything. It is the whole point. What happened yesterday directly influences what's going to happen today. The sequence is the story.
Okay, so we know what it is, but why is this so important? Well, because understanding this kind of data, it's not just some academic exercise. It is one of the most powerful tools we have for making smart decisions about the future.
And the reason is, it's everywhere. I mean, businesses use it to forecast sales. Economists use it to predict GDP. Doctors use it to monitor a patient's vitals. It's in your weather forecast. It's used for managing web traffic, for optimizing massive supply chains, and for trying to predict the stock market. It's really the engine humming behind so much of our modern world. All right, now for the really cool part. How do we actually do this? Well, think of it like taking apart a machine. We're going to deconstruct these patterns to see what's really driving them. We're finding those hidden signals inside all that noise. So let's look at this line again. This is our observed data. It looks kind of messy, right? A little complicated. It zigs and zags up and down, but it also seems to be climbing overall. It just feels complex. But what if I told you that this complex-looking signal is actually just a few very simple, very predictable patterns all just added together? That's the secret. All we have to do is learn how to pull them apart. And the first, most fundamental piece of our whole puzzle is what we call the trend. This isn't about the daily ups and downs. This is the long-term, big-picture journey that the data is on. And this shows it perfectly. See, when we strip away all those little jitters and bumps, we're left with this smooth, clear line. This shows us the underlying direction, the long-term path the data's taking. Yeah, this is the fundamental journey. So, is a company's revenue generally growing over several years? Is the Earth's climate warming over decades? That core underlying movement is the trend. But of course, life isn't just a straight line, is it? It has rhythms and it has cycles. And that brings us to our next component, seasonality. Now, check this out. It's this perfect repeating wave. This is that predictable rhythmic pattern that just happens over and over and over again within that bigger trend. And this could be anything. Seriously, think about retail sales that spike before the holidays every single year. Or maybe traffic getting heavier during the morning commute every single weekday. That predictable pulse, that's seasonality. So, we've got our long-term journey, the trend, and our predictable rhythm, the seasonality. But there's still one piece left, right? There's all the stuff we just can't predict. And here it is. This is what you get when you subtract the trend and the seasonality from our original data. It looks totally chaotic, because it is. This is the random noise. This is that unexpected sales dip because of a sudden blizzard, or that surprising jump in a stock's price from a viral tweet. It's the part of the story that doesn't follow a pattern. It's the stuff that makes life interesting and, well, makes forecasting a real challenge.
Okay, so we've taken the whole machine apart. We have the trend, we have the seasonality, and we have the noise. Now, let's put it all back together and watch the magic happen.
And here we go. This is the big aha moment. Just look at how this all fits together. At the very top, you've got that messy, observed data from the real world. But right underneath it are the three simple components we just isolated. You can literally see how that smooth trend, plus that repeating seasonal wave, plus that random noise, all add up to create the complex reality we started with. It's amazing.
At its core, it all boils down to this really simple but incredibly powerful idea. Any complex time series is really just these three things combined. And once you can separate them, you can understand the past, and you can start to forecast the future just by extending those patterns forward.
So let's go all the way back to where we started. Remember that airline passenger chart? Now that you know how to look for a trend and a seasonal pattern, what would you predict for the very next month? You know the overall journey is upward, and you know there's a yearly rhythm to it. Suddenly, making an educated guess doesn't seem so impossible anymore, does it?